Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to the third edition of the UNWTO and Google Tourism Acceleration Program. I'm Giorgia Biltino. I'm the Senior Director for Government Affairs and Public Policy for South Europe and Google, and I'm very happy to welcome you all here. Well, you know that this is the third edition of this program. The first edition happened in MENA, the second one in Sub-Saharan Africa, and we are very happy to bring this important program to Greece, Croatia, Portugal, and Italy. We all know that that tourism is such an important economic growth factor for those countries. So in the next hour, we will be hearing from one of the leading UNWTO and Google figures on how technology is helping transform the sector and accelerate the growth of the tourism sector. The main session will be followed by country-specific sessions, so stay with us and then connect to your country session. We are very, very happy. We are delighted to have you with us today and hope you leave this session inspired and motivated. With that, I would leave the floor to Mr. Manuel Butler, Executive Director of UNWTO, to open the session. But Mr. Butler, Manuel, over to you.
Good morning to everyone, dear colleagues from the tourism ministries of Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Croatia, travel association, tourist boards, and DMOs. It is a real pleasure to be with you in the third edition of the acceleration programs after the successful editions in Africa and Middle East happening last year. It is time now more than ever to implement strategies and effective actions to retain and attract the competences needed to recover and create the growth of tomorrow. Change is a constant. The human element is vital. Because of the virus, time has compressed, resulting in a handful of these jobs of the future becoming jobs of the now. Jobs of the now. The jobs of the future have arrived earlier. What's critical is to think careful about the nexus between what a person is doing today and what that person could be good at in the future. Due to the COVID-19, it has increased the use of technology now more than ever to become more digital, sustainable, and innovative. It's crucial to lead a global recovery. Technology has enabled transformation in ways we have not seen before, in how people collaborate, and how businesses operate, and most important to me, in how organizations innovate. Protect everything that matters to companies, their people, their customers, their data, their customers' data, and each transactions they undertake. They are taking actions to improve data service capabilities and make access to data and insights more democratic. We need to recover confidence and rebuild trust through using digital tools such as studying and learning from data. Proof essential in helping countries get back more quickly and more sustainably. Besides, tourism has been strongly shaken by the COVID-19 crisis, and that will allow us to know the effect that this situation is having on tourism in all its dimensions, understand the effects that the reduction of tourism activity is having on economies, societies, and the environment. Certainly, there is data everywhere, but not all is equally well placed to answer these questions, especially not when we wish to benchmark or gain trust. In particular, these 2 weeks ago, UNWTO and Google have signed a new agreement focused on harnessing the power of innovation, education, data, and market intelligence to drive sustainable and inclusive recovery. This joint initiative of UNWTO alongside with Google is a unique opportunity to empower destinations to be more competitive in areas of data and digital marketing, getting first-hand access to information from UNWTO, such as from the tourism recovery tracker, the destination tracker, that could attract potential travelers, as they will know that what to expect at destination together with the Google Insights. This crisis has shown the need to have a multi-skilled and technological adept workforce. Today's skills won't match tomorrow's jobs, and newly acquired skills can become obsolete, which is why continuous training providers is one of the right bets for the future of work. The challenge is huge. There are so millions and millions of livelihoods at stake. But we do see positive signs. Economic prospects have improved. We know there is a significant pent-up demand. Joining forces, all together we will succeed, leaving none behind. Your leadership is needed more than ever. Thank you for your attention and your energy.
And thank you very much, Manuel, for reminding us about the challenges, but also the opportunities ahead of us, and how a partnership between institutions and private companies such as Google can really be instrumental, can be key for the recovery of the tourism sector in our case. So thank you very much for your words. And with that in mind, I would like to invite to the stage Matt Britton, President EMEA Business and Operation at Google. Welcome, Matt.
Hello, Georgia. Hello, everybody. Great to be here, and thanks for joining us.
Great having you. So, Matt, I need to start, considering we are talking about tourism, with a question. Have you planned your holidays?
Well, like everybody, I think, I'm really researching a lot, but I haven't yet placed my bet, and I think that's one of the things we can talk about here. I did have a short holiday in the UK, which is where I'm living, and the temperature was very low, but it was still great to get away, and it reminded me of how much we all need a change of scene.
Indeed, we do. And now, Matt, over to you to tell us more about the role that you think Google can play in the transformation of the tourism sector. Thank you very much, and over to you.
Thank you. Well, look, I've been at Google for 15 years, and I've got to say some of my happiest memories have been in travels at work. Whether it's being in Helsinki, I remember it being -35, ice crystals streaming into my face, tears of cold turning into ice as I walked down to the harbour, or in Soweto in South Africa. I remember visiting a township and a dark tin shed where we were looking at helping the poorest kids to learn languages using technology. So I've really missed being in those different places, the variety that brings the cultures and the ideas and the richness of travel. And today I'm going to be sharing how Google can help the travel sector get back on its feet after the pandemic. It's clear to all of us, right, that technology has been an absolute lifeline in the lockdown. Whether it's my parents who are in their mid-80s, online shopping, streaming, video calling, all of them for the first time, or teaching from home, businesses pivoting to being omnichannel or e-commerce businesses for the first time, working remotely, all of these things have leapt forward 5 to 10 years in as many months. But now we're looking at stepping away from the virtual calls and back into the real world. And Google's working with the travel sector to try and make that a reality. So today I'm going to cover how our partnership with organizations like the UNWTO can help the travel industry build the digital skills it needs. Just as Manuel just said, the jobs of the future have become the jobs of the now. Let's make sure that people have got the skills they need. And that's at the heart of this partnership between Google and UNWTO. And we want to talk about how digital tools can help the industry to come back stronger. And we will travel to hear how a small business on Santorini was able to keep the lights on during these challenging times. It's a great example that we can see of many small businesses putting these tools to work. But first, I want to talk about some trends across the industry, because every day, millions of people use Google to search for travel-related information, and we help to connect businesses and customers. But it also gives us a window into people's minds when it comes to travel and to holidays. We can help businesses, governments, and destination marketing organizations to track trends and help to predict what's next. For example, since mid-May, Search interest has grown over 50% for flights across Europe just in a few weeks. London, Paris, Lisbon, and Palma are topping the list of desirable destinations right now. And outdoor trips are in style. So last summer, we saw searches for outdoor recreation reaching a 10-year high point, and that trend's continuing now. RV rentals, theme parks, these are amongst some of the most searched for things. And if you look at January to May of this year, we saw questions evolving from wanting to understand how government rules around travel are working to wanting to know when and where you can start booking a holiday, just like Georgia was asking me, and I'm sure you're in the same boat. We've also seen a growth in confidence that there's a way out of this and that we will be able to travel again as vaccination has rolled out across countries. So the message is clear. We're eager to travel so long as we can do so safely. And over the past year, we've spent more time online, more than ever before. So the industry is going to need to get online in order to be in line for customers, for bookings, for reviews, for decisions. And we've been partnering closely with tourism ministries, with travel experts, and with players in the travel sector, large and small, to try to build the digital skills we'll need to accelerate recovery. This partnership with the UNWTO is really important. It's an acceleration program we've launched in sub-Saharan Africa and in the Middle East, and today is the Southern European launch, as Georgia said at the beginning. And the session highlights the best practice and the state of travel based on data and on insights. This is a regional partnership that we're taking global. We want to try to help all across the world with the tools and skills that you need. And we're working also to promote travel-related cultural institutions. I'm delighted my colleague Amit Sood, who's the head of Google Arts and Culture, is going to be here. We've digitized a huge amount of art and culture so that people can see digitally what they want to see in person when they travel. And we see that as a real powerful way to help boost interest and growth in travel again. But first, I want to share a case study that demonstrates the importance of going online to real businesses today. We go back to Greece in 2010, and Dina Denaxa moved her family to a small village in Santorini. They had suffered from unemployment in the recession, and they were forced to leave Athens, where there was just no work, and go to her husband's home village. And they used the last of their savings to renovate some abandoned houses and turn it into a small hotel named Ementina Houses. Now, while Ementina Houses, and you can see it online, looks beautiful, it has everything a tourist could want. Until we got in touch, you'd never have known it existed unless you walked past. And if you were walking past, you probably weren't going to book it for the holiday you were already on. And thankfully, Dina was introduced to our program, Grow Greek Tourism Online. It's a collaboration with the Greek tourism industry, and it was about teaching digital skills to small business owners. She sat down with our colleague and was able to look at what she could do to show up online, so that when the pandemic came and hotels had to close for an indefinite period, Dina was ready. Dina used digital platforms to help customers to transfer their bookings rather than cancel, to offer special discounts online through her website, and she was able successfully to attract more international travelers. So last summer, 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, Ementina Houses received more booking requests than in the previous year. And Dina's prospective customers might have been locked down at home, but with the digital tools, she was able to bridge those thousands of miles so that she could help people plan their holidays and adapt their plans. And today, the future is looking brighter for Dina. She's already started inviting guests back to Ementina Houses safely. So Dina's story is heartwarming, but it's just one of millions of travel business owners in Europe, large and small, who can adapt their models successfully and are doing so, because learning new skills and getting online helps businesses to spot new customer behaviors and to move fast to meet them. Remember, our behaviors are changing in unpredictable ways. None of us know what the next few months are going to hold, and being able to engage with customers where they are, when they're researching, is so vital. And we want to help the whole sector to do that, building a better and stronger and more resilient travel industry. So how can we help? Well, we know this season is a particular challenge for the industry. You've got this new confidence from destinations and customers, but no way to predict where demand is going and when people will be confident to make that booking. Historical data, it won't cut it. Businesses and destination marketers are wondering when to be reopen, what the new normal might look like. So what if we could skip the historical data and understand the shifts in travel demand in real time? Enter Travel Insights with Google, which is a site that tracks real-time local data, insights that the industry can use to understand travel demand and to make better informed decisions. So let me just highlight a couple of new tools within the site. First, Destination Insights. That's insights into the destinations that people are searching for or interested in traveling to, whether it's domestic or abroad. Gives you a clear picture of the top regions that are interested in traveling to a specific country and where. So for example, we know travelers from Germany want to visit Croatia, particularly Zagreb or the coast. And within that coastal region, we also know that they're most keen to visit a place called Rovinj. So this is a tool that can help businesses, DMOs, and governments to map the return of travel and to make informed choices about where to communicate with potential visitors. And the second tool within that site is Hotel Insights. It's about helping hoteliers to understand where demand for their property is coming from. It's designed for hotels of all sizes, but particularly for small businesses like Dina's. And both of these tools are free in English, local versions in Spain, in Greece, in France, in Italy, and today in Croatia. And we're bringing more languages on quickly in future. So we know that post-pandemic, the world is uncertain, but there are three takeaways that can help you navigate the waters ahead. Firstly, it's all about understanding and embracing new travel consumer behavior trends. You need to be there and to be helpful to travelers as they face increased choice complexity. And you can use our insights to predict demand in real time so you can adapt your offering and meet those evolving demands. So none of us know how the next few months will unfold or when we'll be able to be, like I was in Helsinki or Johannesburg, freely again. But I know each of you listening is committed to making the travel sector the best it can be. And we want to help you to make that happen, to deliver the insights you want, the tools you need, so that you can give your customers the travel experience that they deserve after so long. Working even more closely with the industry as borders reopen and travel increases again, we're committed to supporting travel and tourism. And now it's my pleasure to hand over to Alessandra Priante, the Regional Director for Europe at the UNWTO. Are you there?
Absolutely, Matt. Such a pleasure, such an honor to be with you. I'm actually live from Madrid. And
good to see you. Well, let me pass the baton from London to Madrid and hear more from you. Thank you very much for the partnership, and we look forward to doing more for the industry together.
Absolutely, Matt. Thank you very much for being next to us in this journey. You've highlighted, and all my colleagues preceding have done the same, that this is a very crucial time. And as I often say, COVID has to be something and an opportunity that will transform for us for the better. It has to be a lesson learned where we actually take something for the future. And definitely one of the things that we must do is do things better. We have and had the chance to understand better what was going on. At UNWTO, we've immediately stepped up into the knowledge creation element, which is basically having all the data of the world in our hands and trying to understand where the overall sector is going. What are the main trends? What is happening in the various regions? This, of course, to be able to do for something for our member states and beyond, for the whole industry, to make sure that tourism is not only understood at its full, but also is able to undertake the challenges ahead. So in the latest data, actually, we just released a barometer. I have to tell you, I was in Greece, you were mentioning Greece, I was in Greece with also the Secretary General and many others of the UNWTO with 40 member states from the region of Europe. We had the 66th Commission for Europe, which is one of our statutory meetings, very important. And one of the things that stood out were the latest data from our barometer, where we recorded a minus 83% globally. But I think what is really, really relevant, especially for the topic of the conversation that we are bringing forward for our esteemed member states and beyond, is that the recovery expectations for the region of Europe, for example, are for starting Q3 2021 and to return to full, let's say, potential at the beginning of 2024. Basically, this means that we have to be ready. As you very correctly mentioned, we have to be ready. Those member states that have invested immediately into the digital skills gap filling, into continuous training, vocational training, education, they're the ones that now probably are the most ready for the challenges. So knowledge, data, skills, expertise, these are really the tools to become successful in the future, to actually gain competitive advantage, if we can think about that, and make sure that everybody's ready, because the challenges are now reality, but the challenges are always there, because this pandemic taught us that we were unprepared when it came through. None of us was really expecting it, and especially in Europe, we were not expecting this to be at the heart of everything. So definitely one big lesson learned for us is we need to prepare. And what Google is doing with the insights that Google is able to provide, this is actually possible, and it's possible for everybody. And this is an occasion. This is definitely an opportunity that cannot be missed by nobody. Because at the end of the day, Matt, let me assure you on something. I mean, tourism is, for us, the most beautiful and positive industry of the world, yet is the one that has the widest value chain. Therefore, for example, politically, it's very sometimes difficult to advocate for its importance inside the economies. So now I think everybody understands the power of tourism, and everybody knows that you need to have the right skills and the right tools to harness that power and make sure that tourism really becomes the driving force for an economic growth, for social growth, for an environmental as well growth in the future. Tourism is a fantastic key to restart the engine, which is called world. But what we need right now is trust, confidence. We need to rebuild it because people are feeling less and less safe. So one very important element here is not only acquiring the skills that will be able to manage, offer, and demand at a different level, but also to make sure that that human element, the human element of trust and confidence, of the beauty of discovery, which is all related to tourism, still remains alive. And therefore, really count on Google to make sure that this sentiment is very well known, embedded, and becomes really one of the elements of the magic potion that would allow us to restart everything. So thank you very much, Matt. Thank you very much, Georgia. Thank you very much, Google, and all my colleagues that will be following me. And see you soon. Congratulations for our member states that are part of this group.
And Alessandra, thank you very much for your enthusiasm and also for your words that were very optimistic and gave us the idea that, well, there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel. And I took some of the keywords that I think you mentioned that are knowledge, data, skills, and expertise in order to be ready when the tourism that is already restarting will go back to full speed, but at the same time, trust and confidence. So the human element of trust and confidence. And with that in mind, I would like to leave the floor to the next speaker, Mrs. Natalia Bayona, UNWTO Director of Innovation, Education and Investment, who is indeed talking about how to recover confidence and trust through digital skills. Over to you, Natalia, and thank you very much for joining.
Hi, it's my pleasure to be here today at the UNWTO Google Acceleration Program. I have to say that today, more than ever, we have the commitment to recover and to rebound tourism through digital transformation. Why we are working to train public servants on the power of digital skills. First of all, tourism is the most human economic sector. Nonetheless, thanks to this pandemic, more than 100 million jobs are under risk. Second of all, this pandemic has obliged us to become more digital and, of course, to use the power of technology to promote better our touristic destinations, to aware prospect tourism destinations about how to promote and to innovate through different channels as augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, big data, Internet of Things, among others, on how those tools can help them to improve the way prospect travelers can get engaged before they come to a place. 50% of international tourism arrivals used to come to the European region. So that's why, more than ever, we need to come with digital skills, with digital tools in order to innovate the way we are promoting the tourism sector. So first of all, inside the UNWTO, we have been working for 3 years with Google in order to accelerate this growth. I have to say that when we talk about digital transformation, this cannot be possible if we are not using the power of the innovation ecosystem by introducing startups, corporates, investors, the academia, national institutions, incubators, accelerators, and so on. If we are not working together, it will be impossible to talk about a sustainable tourism innovation ecosystem. That's why with Google, we are working in different programs. First program is focused on startup competitions. We have received in the past year thousands of startup applications from more than 150 countries, but guess, 54% of those applications came from Europe. On the other hand, what are like the main technologies that are used in Europe in terms of digital transformation? First of all, artificial intelligence and big data analytics. Why? The governments need the power of those dashboards in order to complete a better understanding on how becoming digital can help to run different models through the power of data and statistics, and then we can help to create better and more accurate programs to see first of all, the capacity of the destinations. Second of all, to open or close restaurants due the capacity and the restrictions that we have during COVID-19. 3, to create micro-segmented marketing campaigns through those dashboards where we can see what are the desires of tourists in every single place, in every single destination. And of course, and by far, by using artificial intelligence, we can be able to diversify the touristic experiences by bringing vulnerable destinations into the national promotion of the tourism attractions. That's why, not by coincidence, this year we are celebrating the UNWTO Year of Rural Development, because of course, those vulnerable places that were used to promote agriculture, they have and they can join the power of agriculture with tourism and technology in order to become more visible and of course to create new ventures, new innovation hubs, new opportunities for every single person that wants to come to work and to serve in the most human economic sector, that is the tourism sector. So today, I have to aware you about some of the facts and figures that we have today at the innovation ecosystem and why it's really important to do this program for Europe. First of all, as I already said, 50% of international arrivals came to the European region. Nonetheless, I have to say that when it comes to innovation, all the innovators are concentrated today. The more mature innovators and the scale-ups are focused in 2 main countries, China and the US. So we have a strong challenge to still promote the tourism innovation ecosystem and to help us startups and to help us entrepreneurs to scale up and to jump from one country to the other in order to work as a strong network. Today, of course, we have startups working in all the European countries. Nonetheless, I have to say that from the whole universe of unicorns that are in the innovation ecosystem, only 5% are unicorns focused on tourism. So, and another fact, those unicorns are working in transport. That's the case of Uber, or that's the case of different ventures. And we have, of course, Airbnb in the hospitality sector, but we need more. We need to scale up and to lead this change, because, of course, this will help us to create a more powerful economic sector that brings the added value, jobs that technology is bringing to the different sectors. That's the first point. Second of all, it's about youth empowerment. Youth are inside the tourism sector, because, of course, the tourism sector is the top employer of young, talented minds. Nonetheless, 50% of youth working in tourism only have secondary skills. And we made a survey last year during the pandemic, and guess, 50% of those desire to create their own ventures. So imagine the power that we have to lead this change. If we create digital skills, online education, and we help those young, talented minds to have a better understanding of the tourism sector by mixing and connecting the sector with digital skills, with technology, and of course, by giving them the tools about how to become a tech and a formal entrepreneur in this sector. That's why my obsession inside the UNWTO is to empower youth, because, of course, this is the only way we can add value to the chain. We can prepare future leaders working with technology, and of course, we can lead by example that this sector that is always on evolution with the use of internet, because since the beginning of internet, tourism was always connected with the technology. First of all, by the beginning with the internet, the creation of the websites was a strong revolution. Then the creation of the OTAs was another strong revolution. But since 10 years ago until today, we are facing the startup revolution. And that's why we need to support those entrepreneurs to be connected with airlines, with hotel chains, with governments, in order to make our life easier and to connect startups as suppliers, tech suppliers of the different services that the tourism sector can promote, and of course to create a difference on every single thing that we do. This is only possible with the power of technology and of course with the power of public service. Public service has the power to change everything. Remember that the responsibility to recover tourism is in our hands. And of course, I think the easier way is by using technology and of course by leading by example, because if we work and if we develop public policies focused on helping entrepreneurs to grow, on bringing digital transformation by using inside the ministries the new technologies as big data, analytics, artificial intelligence through those dashboards in order to rebound the different traditional models to take better decisions on budget or on destination management, we will help to have a more sustainable and a more inclusive tourism sector. Today, I have to say that the UNWTO and Google have opened this door and have opened this opportunity in order to bring technical assistance and to help you to create a better destination strategy where the power of youth, technology, and of course, the power of digitalization is here to stay. I would like to thank all of you for your commitment, and I know that since today you will become a digital tourism ambassador that will lead this change by empowering the more number of startups inside your country and of course working in order to help them to scale up. Enjoy the journey. I know this is an amazing experience, and I would like to give the floor to my colleague Sandra that is working really hard to bring you the most updated data on how tourism destinations are rebounding today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natalia. Very good morning to everyone. Bon dia in Portugal. Good morning, Croatia, Italy, and Greece. Sorry, I can't speak your language. It's really great to be with you all today here. And I want to, as my colleagues, thank Google for this amazing partnership that we have developed, bringing data and tools to make our sector more competitive and navigate through this very challenging times. In today's session, and before you enter the detailed insights in each of the countries that will be delivered by our Google colleagues, I just wanted to share with you a few insights on where we are in terms of the impact of COVID in tourism, but also the UNWTO tools that are available to you to understand better what is happening and benchmark with other countries. So I'll ask the colleagues to have my presentation ready. And with that, I will start by as mentioned with the presentation of my colleague Alessandra Priente. UNWTO has just released last week the latest impact assessment on international tourism. And unfortunately, Q1 of 2021 was a continuation of the impact of travel restrictions that we have seen being reimposed in the last months of last year. Unfortunately, the data shows that we are currently at minus 83% between January and March as compared to 2020. But more importantly, we're still 88% down if we compare to pre-pandemic levels. Europe, which has been one of the least affected regions during 2020, we had a decline of 69% compared to 73% in the whole world, is at this moment at minus 83%. Unfortunately, we know how travel restrictions and lockdowns have impacted the region. If we look a little bit into the overall impact, just to put this into perspective and to know where we come from and the challenges that we have ahead of us, international tourism has gone back 30 years in terms of numbers. So the market competitiveness has definitely increased. The number of people that will be willing to travel, that will have the means to travel, is at this moment a market that is much smaller than in pre-pandemic. So competitiveness through digital, through data will be critical for recovery. And this is why UNWTO and Google are partnering to hopefully help you with new tools to understand better your markets. In Europe, just to give you an idea as well, as it was mentioned, Europe is the region that receives 50% of all international travels. We lost last year more than 500 million arrivals. So I'm sure that in all your destinations, the numbers look very similar and the challenges are very common to all of you. When we look ahead to the year 2021, UNWTO revised scenarios that were released last week indicate that if we do see an improvement in travel restrictions in July, and the news from the COVID passport are very welcome in this regard within the European Union, we will still be finishing the year as compared to 19 at a minus 63%. Unfortunately, if restrictions take longer and we only see the rebound towards the end of the year in September, we will be around 75% down. So I do hope also that this can help you frame what is happening in your country and benchmark with the global situation. Looking a little bit into, as Alessandra mentioned prior, when do we expect a rebound in international tourism? We have been conducting a survey with a panel of experts that we have repeat now in 3 waves. And unfortunately, as compared to last survey, which was performed in January, we are now seeing that most experts see recovery only happening in 2022. As we had mentioned as well, Europe is among the regions which is more optimistic. We see that there is a part of the experts that still expect rebound by the last quarter of this year. But also a big part expects that Q3 might see that rebound. So in Europe, as compared to Africa, Americas, and Asia Pacific, you can see that the sentiment of the industry is relatively more positive, which gives us good perspectives as we go along. We have also asked the experts when do they see the recovery of tourism in terms of the numbers of pre-COVID. So when do they see the return of the levels that we had in 19? And unfortunately as well, we are seeing that the expectations as compared to January have been delayed. So almost 50% now see those numbers coming back only in 2024 or later after that year. When we look also per regions, the situation is similar to what we mentioned before. We have a good number of experts in Europe that do expect pre-pandemic levels to be back in the region in 2023, and more or less half of them also that expect 2024 or later on. So in terms of the impediments, we all know that travel restrictions are top of mind in terms of the facts that are hampering the recovery. But it has been very interesting during the survey as well. We have seen that the lack of coordination of countries in terms of response has gained particular importance, and we can see that that has become more relevant since we started the survey. It's also interesting to note that the economic environment, which was something that we thought in October and the experts told us could be a very relevant factor because of the pending economic crisis, has actually receded in terms of importance. So this is also a point to take into consideration when targeting your communications. In Europe, as you can see as well, travel restrictions are still the main factor that are considered to be restraining the recovery, and also the lack of coordinated response. So this is definitely two things which are very much connected. Overall, our UNWTO scenarios point to 2.5 to 4 years to recover to 2019 levels, and this is where we see the international tourism going. We know that domestic will recover much quicker, and we're seeing that already in many of the countries, including your own. And this is important to note as we prepare for recovery. Today, just to conclude, I would like to share some of the tools that we have developed at UNWTO to bring our data, but also data from different partners. Big data, as Matt was saying, traditional data does give us information, but we need more than ever predictive data. We need current data on searches, on bookings, on air capacity, and we need more than anything, we need to have an integrated approach to this data management. And we're very happy to be working with the European Travel Commission to develop a destination lab for Europe. And I do hope, I know that Portugal, for example, is part of the working group. So this is something that the crisis has brought as an opportunity for us to step up the efforts in terms of market intelligence and the use of data. So very briefly, for those who are not familiar with the UNWTO online tools, I'll share with you 3 dashboards that are available online at the UNWTO website. You can just Google them as well, and I'm sure that you will find them. And the first one is the UNWTO Tourism Recovery Tracker, which basically provides you with a compound information on different KPIs. We have put together data on international tourist arrivals, travel restrictions, travel sentiment in terms of online searches, occupancy rates, hotel searches and bookings, short-term rentals, which we have seen that actually have been doing far better than traditional hotels, seat capacity, both domestic and international, but also actual air reservations. So this information is available worldwide. It is also available per region and per sub-region, so you can actually dig into and compare your country with the overall regional situation, and also compare with the previous month. The second dashboard is the UNWTO Global Tourism Dashboard, where basically you can find data that countries report to UNWTO, so you can compare your country by month with other countries in the region to actually track if your country's performance and recovery is in line with the regional trend, but also with your competitors. And finally, the last tool that I would like to share with you, which we have developed recently with IATA, is a tool that is aimed to address one of the major challenges that people have at this moment, which is information on travel requirements. Probably one of the most searched terms in Google is, can I travel to X country? Or what do I need to travel to X country? Here you can find per country every regulation that's necessary. It's also very useful for Europe, where you can track already the countries that are accepting vaccination certificates as a way to travel without having to test or without having to quarantine. It also allows you to track information at the destination level, so you can see which destinations are open in terms of their facilities, in terms of their travel within the country. And finally, there's an analysis area where you can have an overall vision around the world of what is happening. There's also a series of COVID-related health indicators, such as the rate of infections, but also the vaccination rate, which you can use in terms of source markets. So with that said, it's been a real pleasure to be with you here. Again, I'd like to thank Google for the excellent partnership. We've done a series of trainings already in various regions. We've also have webinars on the UNWTO and Google tools. So for those interested, they're available in YouTube. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy and learn a lot from the Google Insights in your own country, and take advantage of those, learn more about them, because for the first time, a lot of information is available with no cost and can be inputted into building your market intelligence systems, always with an actionable objective. So data with a purpose, and I think the Google tools definitely answer that demand. So thank you all again, and this is all from Madrid. And again, it's been a pleasure, and I do hope to see you very soon somewhere in the world physically.
Sandra, thank you very much. Muito obrigada, I would say, since you also used other languages. Indeed, what you said, data with purpose, I think is the key element. These data, these insights are so important, so incredibly important for every operator, for every company that is in the tourism sector, and understand what the trends are and how to move in this difficult scenario is particularly important. And since it is so important, we will stay on the question and on the topic of data and insights. And I would like to introduce you all to Hani Abdelkawi, Head of Travel Sales at Google. Hi, good morning, Hani. Are you there? Here
Hello,
you are.
Georgia.
Hi,
Thanks
how are
for
you?
having me.
It's
Doing
a pleasure.
well.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And indeed, we were saying about the power of data. And as our friend Sandra told us, the power of data with a purpose. So data that can be used by everyone for a purpose to really orientate their choices in the future. So you're talking to us today about restarting tourism with the power of data. So
Indeed.
with this, I leave the floor to you, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks again, Georgia, and thanks, Sandra. Data with purpose is such a great start for me. Hello, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to be with you today. Working for Google, I lead some of the innovation initiatives to help our travel partners digitally succeed and to maximize their efficiency. The past year was definitely very harsh on the global mobility front. The travel and tourism sector was prominently impacted, and all of us felt the heat and pressure of the next normal, of how to welcome your visitors and respond to their new needs. Personally, I can tell you how much I miss being in person with you today. and getting the chance to meet new friends and enjoy coffee chats. I am a globetrotter myself, so I really appreciate travel. Over the past 5 years, just before the pandemic hit us in 2020, I took about 400 flights, visiting different places, interacting with diverse cultures, never failed in recharging my battery and boosting my well-being. Tourism has always been the industry of creating happiness. So now travel is not the same anymore. I asked my colleagues probably to bring the slides on the screen. With the same objective remains about creating happiness, we at Google have listened to how this affected our long-term partners like all of you. We wanted to stay true to our mission to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And if anything has changed on our side recently, I can safely say that Google is now more committed in supporting the rebound of this sector. Allow me to start with a quick video.
Mesdames et messieurs, l'avion est maintenant prêt pour l'embarquement.
This video brings a lot of emotions. Remember 2019? Not so long ago? And back then, holidays used to mean traveling outside of the city or the country. Almost overnight, this meaning has suddenly evolved in favor of staycations while watching Netflix shows, or just even going to the supermarket to stock up the fridge during the pandemic lockdowns. Today, our lives are unavoidably different. Yes, we are all missing the in-person meetups and handshake, but the new normal is likely to stay. It's now about adjusting to the facts, and the future of travel is already here. The good news, the world is proactively containing the virus, and vaccines are rolling out. Probably Sandra was speaking about this amazing dashboard where you can monitor the vaccine rates and benchmark even the performance and arrival. And we do see those green shoots happening. And Google is very committed in helping. As a technology and data company, we are committed to help people get back to what they love, especially traveling. In this session, we'll talk about how the industry has turned and what we can do to regrow it back. So just echoing Matt's speech earlier, there are 3 key pillars we are seeing. Number 1, there is a new traveler in-house. Expectations are different. Number 2, recovery has already started, and there is a major degree of optimism for both travelers and service providers. And number 3, data and analytics are as critical as ever, if not more. Travel industry has always been based on a huge breadth of information, and data-driven decisions are just a natural practice. So let's take a look at today's traveler. People like those who seek a change, even if that meant for some to drive long hours to reach a new favorite destination while planes were grounded, this is very important for them. In fact, some recent studies are showing that people are itching to travel after endless months of cabin fever, and there is now an expectation for a universal hunger for wide open spaces. Consumers' appetite now favors making travel plans compared to making other purchases that might stay long enough in their life or their households. The appetite comes from those who cannot wait to reunite with family, with friends, or simply to experience a different place. I still cherish the days when I used to know where, why, and when to travel exactly. Today, Sandra was saying that there is a surge in people searching for, can I travel to? And according to that, like they take like the following rules. Actually, we see this very strongly, the surge of just, can I travel? This has grown by 800% versus 2019 data, and this peak remains very, very high. And if we ever said that the decision journey is complex, it's now far more complex. According to some studies, the average traveler spends like 13% of their time online conducting travel-related activities or just looking for inspirations. With all the quarantine rules, PCR needs, vaccination mandates, general health and active cases in target destination, you name it, you as travel players naturally try to better understand and respond to the clues of the updated decision journey from the travelers. Also, when we look at the vaccination rates, and by now we see that there are almost 2 billion vaccine doses have been administered, countries continue to announce their reopening plans. Many of the EU countries are even rapidly catching up and preparing the updated entry and stay rules. So let's probably double click on the EU travelers. If we have a look at the stack rank of where European travelers want to visit, you would see that recently some of the countries such as UK lost their top positions in favor of other countries that used to be far, far less popular. This picture almost changes monthly. It's almost like dancing if you animate it. So having a look at, for example, the demand from the UK users to travel to Portugal, when it was just announced that it will be added to the green list, it saw a huge surge in demand. Why? Because tourism is all about the freedom of movement. Holiday makers are typically on budget controls and schedule. Probably with the recent shift for Portugal going from green to amber, we are already seeing a small dip in the future demand, but we are expecting to see this dip even go further. But definitely, no one wants to pay almost 1,700 sterling pounds for just mandatory quarantine by visiting a place on the red list. So luckily, the sky is getting clear. When we think about recovery, we always question what shape the graph will take. Would it be a V shape? Would it be a U shape? Would it be an L shape, or even sometimes W shape with different waves of the virus coming in and kicking in a few countries? If you take a closer look, we see that it actually varies in terms of shape by each travel business. So for example, demand for air is showing the L shape, as it is probably reliant on restrictions and entry requirements between any pair of countries, while other businesses are showing some V shape, such as accommodations or car rental, specifically driven by domestic holidays. So if you probably zoom in further on the EU, the picture would show that people across many countries are hoping to hit the sky again. They are seeking some international travel, but they are probably delaying any decision related to booking international accommodations, as opposed to if you compare it with how much and how easy they are trying to search. So searching for air is super top of mind, but taking a decision is probably more into the domestic view. And if we even look at the last few weeks of insights, you can easily tell that the summer peak was in action. Users were looking actively to travel for at least about a week-long trip, and the lead time for them is now shorter than before. Travelers travel was almost famous for its monotonic seasonality and predictability. But today, it's actually very hard to rely on any historical data. So what we have launched as technology and data company, we launched those like public reports tool, monitoring people's navigations to stores, museum, parks, and you can see that many destinations are coming back in the green. And if you haven't seen that already, I recommend and encourage that you like have a look at the Google Mobility Report. But let's take it back. So what now? How can you respond to all of that? During the peak of the pandemic, Google developed a few insights engines that were to capture the magnitude of the user demand from all across the world. The tools would quickly swift through all the questions we receive every day and offer curated and up-to-date demand insights for millions of city-city pairs. We were very happy to see our partners leveraging those signals to readjust operations, reopening the businesses such as the hotels that Matt was speaking about, and even automating and relaunching how they acquire and engage with potential customers and visitors to their businesses in order to move on the wheels again. So this morning, Matt shared with you the news about the Travel Insights tools that we are launching to help governments and DMOs with the help of UNWTO. And data can be easily used to plan and optimize even the marketing activations that you are planning for your respective destinations. And we have also launched the Hotel Insights tool that would help hotels from all sizes, large and small. Both tools, the Travel Insights and Hotel Insights, aim to democratize access to information. Those are absolutely free, rich, and public. They are directed towards like travel businesses and decision makers, as well as the supporting services and industries related to tourism, as my colleagues were saying from the UNWTO earlier. And those tools will be exposed in details in the later sessions with respective breakout sessions. So probably the last thing I want to bring, I strongly believe that that travel is not a luxury. It's rather a human necessity. I remain confident about the rebound trajectory. Sooner or later, this pandemic era will be just behind us. Collaborating together would get this industry up again and would continue to contribute to the general welfare for the GDP in your respective countries, and importantly, to continue spreading happiness for people from all over the world. So thanks for listening. Next, you will hear from Amit about the exciting works of Google Culture and Arts. Over to you, Amit.
Honey, and lovely to be virtually with all of you. Thank you for having me. For those of you who are not aware, Google Arts and Culture is essentially, I hope you can see my slides any second now. Yeah. So Google Arts and Culture is an initiative at Google, a non-profit initiative that started close to around 11 years ago now, with the aim of providing access to all types of cultural, artistic, and intangible heritage information, which is majority, I think, of what people do when they travel to experience in different cultures. And we've been doing this now for a few years, and we've got around 2,500 museums, archives, and foundations from around 85 countries. And it's a really, melting pot of visually compelling information with the curatorial narrative, experts, tour guides. And I think for us, what we learned is that when the pandemic hit, and when all these amazing locations, museums, heritage locations, archaeological locations, when they were shut, and people wanted to find a little bit of inspiration, excitement, they turned to places like Google Arts and Culture to find that. And our objective was not to try to create an experience that replicates the physical, because I don't think that can ever be possible, but to try and create something that makes you even more motivated and enthusiastic to get onto your next travel adventure. And so I'll show you a few of those ideas and examples that our partners around the world have helped us create. So the next slide, is just to tell you that what we learned in the pandemic is that people want to explore culture of different locations in different ways. Some people really want the learning, the education. Some want to actually play, and they are, perhaps interested in the learning after. You can find a way to give them something interactive where they can play. And of course, sharing your own personal interpretation of that travel, of that adventure that you had, which is very critical nowadays. So for us, we have been doing a few initiatives. I mean, you can see on the screens behind me, I'm actually in the office today after a long, long time. And, just put up the screens. This is a project we did, which was really about celebrating Europe's cultural heritage, brought across over 200 institutions across Europe under one umbrella to tell a very compelling story. Spain, an open kitchen. People go to Spain for many reasons, food being one of them. And we wanted to really create this visual encyclopedia of why you need to respect this cuisine. You need to understand it the next time you're there, because then you will probably appreciate it even more. And these are something new that we did during the pandemic, where we realized that by chance over the last 10 years, we had collected incredible intangible heritage, art, food, stories from around different partners for each country. And so we started creating these country dedicated hubs that were extremely well visited and received by people in those countries and internationally. Wonders of Portugal was one of ours that we recently did. Italy with Georgia, who was here from Google as well. All roads lead to culture with the Ministry of Culture. I think it featured over 80 to 90 institutions that had never come together under one umbrella to tell a compelling visual story. A fantastic collection of content that my colleague 16 will show you next. And moving on. My personal favorite was Croatia, because I learned so much about the country, and it's now one of my top countries to travel. 16 will show you more, so I won't talk about it, but it was one of the most wonderful initiatives to inspire travel. Grand tour of Italy. And this is something we did around language, which is that when you travel, you obviously interact with people who speak a different language. And how do you get people to appreciate that and also learn about that? So this is a first time ever done story about the Portuguese language and what it means. For us, as Google Arts and Culture, we obviously continue to work with institutions primarily, and a lot of these institutions are top travel destinations when people travel to different countries. For example, you might want to visit La Scala, so we did an amazing initiative with them during the pandemic of bringing their entire orchestra together to create a powerful emotional piece to inspire you to actually experience the real thing. We did something around Kandinsky with Centre Pompidou, which is one of the top locations to travel to when you visit Paris. So really in-depth projects that take a year or two to develop, that have machine learning, augmented reality experiences. So it's not just a brochure, but it's really something that you want to keep returning to ever so often. And I think this is some ideas we've been doing around play, because we realize that when people want to travel or experience culture, now the demand is even more that it's interactive, it's fun, it's something you can share with your family, your friends, your kids. It's a social experience. And so Art Filter is one of our most successful recent ones. Art Selfie, you may have heard of, where you take a picture and you'll be matched to a portrait in a museum. We had Art Transfer, where you can apply different styles of classic European artists to your own pictures. Shawway Caves in augmented reality, one of the places you may want to visit when you travel, but you can't. And that's now brought to you in augmented reality, and many, many more. One of the things we also realized is that we can add sound, and we can get tour guides to really give immersive experience of spaces with a little bit of a initiative to come and visit that in person. And so we launched this, which is an art tour of the world. It's a travel experience, just launched last month or 2 months ago, where you can listen to the sounds in the paintings, and you can just launch it in your house. And hopefully, the minute you're allowed to travel, you get on that plane and go to some of these places. We've been recreating cultural landmarks using paper art, trying to keep busy on YouTube. So that's the project we've done. We've got many locations like that. That's, I think, the Tower of Pizza that you can recreate very quickly in your home and hopefully feel inspired to go. And finally, it's about getting different, unique people to give perspectives on cultural insights, like FKA Twigs, a Grammy-nominated singer who talks about Artemisia, which was one of the blockbuster exhibitions at the National Gallery here in the UK, and really provides a different perspective, a different idea to what a travel guide could be. And I think these are a few more examples. We've been also taking people on their honeymoons, reliving their honeymoons during lockdowns. Karen and Paul are from the US, and they wanted to go back to Italy for their honeymoon after many years, and they did it virtually using Google Arts and Culture. We've got many stories like this where people are using these destinations to relive these memories. And one of the things they told us is that, of course, the minute they can actually physically go, they will be going. So I think that's pretty much most of my slides. I'll just check if there's any other one. No, that's it. I'll be handing over now to my colleague 16, who runs some of these amazing initiatives, and she'll take you through some of the content. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you, Amit. I'm partner manager at Google Arts and Culture, and I'd be glad to be your guide today through some of our projects. Google Arts and Culture is uniquely positioned to play a great role in promoting cultural travel and global exploration by focusing on what makes a destination unique: its people, its spaces, its history, and more. Among the initiatives we've developed on Google Arts and Culture, let me share some examples in Croatia, Italy, and Portugal. When you think of Croatia, you usually think of its endless beaches, islands, lots of natural parks, but it's also one of the countries with the highest number of intangible cultural heritage items on the UNESCO list. This project is also aimed to increase interest in Croatia as a tourist and travel destination, and to promote the beauty and treasures of the country to virtual and local tourists throughout 2020, which has been difficult for travelers around the world. Over 1 year in the making, we've launched in September, together with the Croatian National Tourist Board, the Ministry of Tourism, the Museum of Arts and Crafts in Zagreb, and the artist Oko, Croatia Arts and Crafts, which is dedicated to the intangible cultural heritage of the country, allowing users to virtually travel and discover over 25 traditions, from folk dancing and singing to architectural traditions and craftsmanship. The video you saw in the background was created for the project to take you on a musical journey across the country, being accompanied by one of the most famous Croatian operas performed in a new way. It is the most well-rated video that the tourism board had, and they were planning to use it in the promo campaign throughout this year. This is the first global presentation of Croatian intangible heritage to be published online in English and Croat. The project allows you to browse through more than 1,600 images, capturing the picturesque sights of Croatia and intangible traditions spanning dance, craft, music, and food. 28 online stories which beautifully illustrate why Croatia should be on your bucket list of travel destinations. This exhibition takes you on a tour through street view panoramas of 5 top locations in Croatia, and telling the story of the customs that are cultivated there. This video was created on the basis of highlight photos from various Croatian locations and street view panoramas. The video intermingled the two in order to focus and deep dive into the natural beauty of the country. Croatia has a rich cultural landscape of traditional folk music, historic reenactments, and religious festivals. If you're visiting Croatia, here are the top 10 traditional festivities and when and where you can find them. This exhibition describes the phenomenon of two-part playing and singing in instrument scale. You'll be able to experience and listen to this very typical combination of voices and instruments. This exhibition focuses on the traditional manufacturing of children's wooden toys in the Artsko-Zagorje region. And finally, if you're a food lover, you get a taste of culinary traditions across Croatia's different regions. Italy is the country in which we have experienced the most digital traveling with Google Arts and Culture. In 2017, we launched our first Grand Tour of Italy project, an online journey across the country to bridge the past and the future of Italy. Since then, we've also developed 3 city-focused projects such as Naples, Milan, and Mantua. In 2020, in line with Google's mission to make the information accessible to everyone, Google Arts and Culture wanted to help the immense cultural heritage of Italy continue to shine and be accessible to everyone in Italy and around the world. The project includes over 180 cultural institutions of the Italian cultural heritage, partners of Google Arts and Culture, showcasing online the masterpieces, exhibitions, landmarks, and much more. From the culture of the arts, architecture, and iconic landscapes, to the heritage of the culture of food, craft, entertainment, science, and technology, together with many virtual tours in collaboration with Street View. I obviously cannot present all the beautiful content of this project, but strongly recommend you to take a look at the page. You'll be able to explore collections of over 180 institutions partners of Google Arts and Culture, such as the Museum of Capodimonte, Archaeological Museum of Naples, National Gallery of Modern Art, and more. You'll see hundreds of virtual tours of cultural destinations, including iconic landmarks such as the Colosseum, Pisa Tower, the Milan Cathedral. You'll admire landscapes such as the Grand Canal of Venice by gondola, the Emerald Coast of Sardinia, the Mount Etna, etc. You'll discover hundreds of stories featuring Italian excellence and cultural domains, such as Italian food culture, fashion culture, handcrafts, science and technology. You'll explore hundreds of artworks in super high definition, digitized with Google Art Camera, Botticelli's The Birth of Venus, Vincent van Gogh The Gardener, and more. And get a chance to discover some hidden gems across Italy, many smaller institutions with less known yet beautiful collections. Today, we're also glad to launch Wonders of Portugal, which gather our 43 partners' collections into one single portal with the aim of highlighting all the great things this country has to offer and allow Portuguese and worldwide users rediscover the country. Portugal has been in the spotlight of travel agencies for years. Its rich culture makes people in love with one of the oldest countries in Europe. Let's explore the main things to know about Portugal. You'll be able to know everything about the Portuguese azulejo and why it is such a unique decorative language. You'll discover Lisbon before the 1755 earthquake. The entire city has been portrayed for eternity in this magnificent painting on ceramic. Lisbon is also famous for its street art. You can explore the urban art festivals run by Galeria de Arte Urbana. 16th century Lisbon was possibly the most globally connected city of its time. This is the story of what was to become one of its most famous visitors, a rhinoceros, who captured the imagination of Renaissance Europe, going on to become one of the icons of the Age of Discovery. Explore the Tower of Belém and discover what was considered the ceremonial gateway to Lisbon and symbol of 500 years of Portugal history. Meet the man who discovered the first global maritime trading route, Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer who was the first European to reach India by sea. The north of Portugal is the most populous region of the country. Let's explore the area and its main landmarks. Click and navigate through the places, such as the amazing Senhor da Pedra's Chapel. As you can see, this is a lot to learn and experience, so I strongly encourage you to continue to enjoy the journey on Google Arts and Culture website and app. Thank you very much for inviting me today.
And thank you very much, 16. Thank you very much, Amit. I love Google Arts and Culture. Thanks for sharing all this information. And I really cannot imagine a best way to know and to discover a country than its tradition and its culture. And you really gave me envy to restart traveling and go into these places that you showed us and see them in person. I would like to thank you, all the speakers, and especially all of you who stayed with us until now. I hope you enjoyed the different perspective and learned from the different perspective that we heard, and how digital and data can really be a growth engine for the tourism sector. We're going to have 10 minutes break, and then please join us after this short break for the local breakout session. You can choose among the different sessions. We have a wealth of interesting country-specific travel insight. You can find the link for each country below in the channel description, or you have also received this link via email. Thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the program, and enjoy, hopefully, your next travel. Thank you very much. Bye.
You're so far away. My soul is lost today. And you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, My soul is lost there. And you're so far away. My soul is lost there. And you're so far away. My soul is lost there, and you're so far away. My soul is lost there, and you're so far away. My soul is lost there, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. My soul is lost today, and you're so far away. Thank you.